context where you heard it, you can talk a little bit about that too. Sound good?
Perfect.
Are you with us, Mom? Are you with us?
I was checking what are my questions.
Are you?
Are you here? So today we're going to do something a little different. It made me think the last discussion we had, and a few discussions, we've mentioned dichos, which I'll describe what they are in a second, but it made me think it might be good for us to pause and explain what they are, talk about a few of the ones that we're most familiar with, so that when we mention these in future discussions, because they'll probably come up, people can know what they are. So dichos are brief sayings that usually encapsulate some kind of wisdom or illustrate a lesson. They can be very rhythmic and even poetic. And they're not unlike what we've called proverbs in other cultures. Even in the US culture and American culture, we have these sayings. And so as we talk about some specific ones, I think people listening to us will say, that sounds like something I've heard in English. So hopefully it clicks with folks, because a lot of these things are just universal lessons, right? That some people have figured it out how to say it in very few words, and you know exactly what it means. So that's the plan for today. Sound good?
Perfect.
Very good.
All right.
Fun. Sounds like fun.
Sounds like fun. This is going to be fun. So how we're going to do this is each of you is going to talk about a specific saying. You're going to say the dicho in Spanish, and then we'll translate it into English. And then you'll say what it basically means. And if there's a memory for you or a context where you heard it, you can talk a little bit about that too. Sound good?
Perfect. Perfect.
Are you with us, Mom? Are you with us?
I was checking what are my questions.
Are you?
Are you here?
Am I here
Hello?
today? Yay! I was checking the dichos because
we have to check them.
Yeah, because you're up first, and I'm going to alternate. So I'll start with Mom, and yours is the first one.
I think it's the one that says, más vale tarde que nunca.
That's it.
Which means, well, in English, probably you will say it better, but it's better late than never.
That's perfect.
Exactly. So what it means really is that even if it takes some time for you to start something and you say, nah, it's too late, it's better to try it even late than never. And I remember my grandma's mom, who was very wise, and in where she was coming from, Guanajuato, they have a lot of dichos. She would say, you know, even if sometimes, like at work, in school, with a family, you're planning to do something and it's late, go ahead and do it, because it's better to do it than never. And many a time, you know, you are sorry that you didn't try it. So it's better to do it than not do it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Very true. And I know that's a very common one also in English, that a lot of times has been used as a way to encourage, like you say, people to not give up on the possibility of doing something, right? Like even if it's later in life. And this is very common now because a lot of people are changing careers later in life, or, you know, doing multiple things, which I appreciate. I think about younger generations is they try a lot of things, you know, in quick time, whereas I know some of my generation, Gen X, we tend to stay in some things longer and delay other things. And so there's always a good time to start, I think, is the key there. Now, Atlanta is going to do the second one.
The second one says, no hay mal que por bien no venga.
And mine's going to be a rough translation, and Mom, fill in the gaps if I'm a little off on this. But I think it's, there is no bad from which good does not come. Something like
pretty
that.
much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah, I totally agree. You know, I was thinking about it, and well, since I was little, I heard this from my mom. I'm mostly all the time, right? Because, you know, when you struggle for something, either when you're small and then you go to school and then you cry and things like that, all the time comes up with this saying, no? But in particular, I remember when I was diagnosed back on 2017, and I totally apply to it because, I really change very much in my feelings, in the perspective of life, facing the illness, trying to do positive attitude, becoming resilient, which by the way was the first time I really heard the meaning, or I really knew the meaning of this word, resilient. And it's really nice because I remember resilience means it's not about being the strongest, but about never giving up. Today's perseverance is tomorrow's victory. And I'm pretty much about it because I experience it.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%. And, thanks again for sharing, because I know we talked about this in another pod about being diagnosed with cancer. And I think that is a test of all tests, right? When you get your health is really impacted. And a lot of times people say, why me? Why this is happening to me? And it becomes an opportunity to linger in that, or to say there's a reason and I have to fight. And speaking about resilience, right? Pulling on that will to fight and live another day, as
There you
Tia
go.
said.
One day at a time.
Live it up. That's what
Live
she said.
it up. There you go.
The third one is Aunt Laura too. So you want to say the third one?
Oh, okay. It says, a quien madruga, Dios lo ayuda.
Yes. So those who get up early, God helps. Is that close? Yes.
I would say so, right?
Uh-huh.
Well,
I think there is even an American saying that says something like the early bird catches
That's
the
it.
worms or something.
That's it.
oh,
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. Which no mention of God in that. It's just a bird catching the worm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, in Latin America, we have to refer to God mostly all the time.
Mostly all the time.
but what does that
So,
mean
yeah.
to you, Aunt Laura?
To me, I totally agree with that one, 100%, because I learned it from the very first job I had back when I was 18 years old. Of course, you're afraid of applying and all these things, but then you start saying, I have to be ahead of the situation, right? And start searching for what I need and prepare myself emotionally and physically prior to any opportunity or challenges to come. So I learned that the outcome will be more beneficial that way when you prepare in advance for many reasons.
Yeah. And for me, I think about, and of course, the English phrase was one that I recall a lot. We talked before that we came from a military family, and as a youngster, I know that I liked being a little lazy or sleeping in, those kinds of things. And I think a lot of it was routine and get up early, literally get up early and have a plan for the day, do something, right? And you'll reap the benefits of the work that you do. Mom's next one.
The fifth one was, remind me.
You didn't write it?
I wrote it exactly in the laptop that I'm looking at.
Ojos.
Okay, well, good.
Ojos que no ven, and I can't get into it because I have the Zoom. I'm from.
Make it smaller.
I am from the last century, literally, and sometimes this moving little to here, and you can have three things. Talking about practice makes perfect.
You're totally
I
fine.
need to practice.
You're totally fine.
Totally fine.
Plus, I have to apologize. I was about to sneeze because my allergies are terrible this morning.
That's okay.
The environment is not too good. But
Sneeze
anyway,
if you have to sneeze.
So this one is Ojos que no ven, Corazon que no siente.
Oh, okay.
That's a very good one. So that would be eyes that not see, heart that doesn't feel. In other words, something like you have to be present, to really realize something or experience something yourself. Ojos que no ven. Grandma used to say that ojos que no ven, corazón que no siente, doesn't mean your heart doesn't feel. But sometimes you may be away from a situation or even family. and you're not there, so you don't know exactly what is happening. Many a time, I wanted to, for example, help my children once they grew up and left home and they were on their own in their own careers and in life and whatnot. And being away, sometimes you don't really realize exactly what is happening. And that's a very rough but true probably saying. If you're not there, if you're not experiencing, you don't know exactly what's happening. Your heart doesn't react because you're not seeing.
Right.
I think that's more or less what it would mean. Not that you don't feel, that your heart doesn't feel, but that you're not seeing what is happening.
Right. So it's not as impactful because you're not seeing it. In your mind, there might be some sense of like, I'm sure my children are going through some hardship, but you don't really experience it because you're not seeing it.
Exactly. You're not there.
Okay.
Sometimes it's better to be blind.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's better just not see.
Well,
Don't
it's
see
kind
it.
of exactly, and I don't know if it's exactly matched up with ignorance is bliss, but it reminds me a little bit of that, right? Like not knowing gives you some kind of peace, even though if you have an inkling in your situation, an inkling, like I'm sure, as all people do as they go through adulthood, my children are experiencing some challenges, but I don't witness it, so there's a little peace with that, right?
Exactly.
I don't know exactly, what's happening.
Yeah.
Claro, of course.
Yeah. Let's go back to Aunt Laura.
Okay. El que mucho abarca, poco aprieta.
So I think it is he who grasps too much holds little. Something
I
like
think so,
that.
yeah. Pretty much like it, yeah. Yeah, oh my God, that one. Do I have learned my lesson on this one? You know, I'm a person that wants to do multiple tasks, right? And of course, in my house, at home, with my friends, and at work, and that was not good. I don't think it's safe to be in charge of many tasks at the same time because you're not going to focus on any of those, right? And the results will be very mediocre. Like myself, when I was in charge of, at work, I didn't delegate the responsibility to many. I wanted to be in charge of everything, right? So where is here, where is that? Everything is handled fine. And you can't. You're a human being, right? And unfortunately, you give up the important details because you want to do all these multiple tasks. So that's what I reflected on.
Yeah. And I think, I'm trying to remember, there's the English phrase. It's sort of the person who knows a lot about everything but is a master of little. I have to look it up.
Oh, that is true.
Right?
I think there's one. Let me see.
Because it's like you get involved in so many things that you really don't have one like thorough thing or complete thing, right? Because you're doing so many little things.
Exactly.
And
Correct.
yeah, and that's kind of what that reminds me of. We'll
Totally
think about
agree.
the English translation and we'll put it up.
It's important. That's a good one, too.
Yeah. Well, it's a reminder. In your example, it's a reminder, one, to delegate for sure and not do so many things because then nothing ends up really completely well, right? Because there's only so much of you to go around.
Exactly.
And that's a lesson in other parts of our lives too.
And you have to start trusting the other person, capability or the people have good ways of doing things different from you, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. Right? So that's when you start learning and give them a chance to express themselves.
And actually,
That's
doing that, what you produce are people who feel confident and competent, which if you're in a position as like a manager, that is actually the big gain, right? In doing that is that you get people who feel empowered and enriched and eventually grow and can do other things. Yeah. Okay.
And that brings me to, now that you say manager, when I was working as a teacher in the preschool system, our director offered me the position of supervisor. We had at that time, I think, 5 or 6 preschools. And I realized that I don't have the temperament or the person that I want to do everything. And not because I want to do it, but because if someone doesn't do it, I do not know how to, or I felt I wouldn't know how to delegate. And I would try to do everything. And I said, I think that I stay as a teacher enjoying what I do because
Smart, smart, smart
being a
call.
manager is so difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is
Such
very.
responsibility, too.
for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
of course. Also, I would say that when you're a manager, they're looking at you, right? You're leader. So it's
Exactly.
important the way you behave, lead by example. And it's so important to, I mean, they're learning, these people are after you, you're guiding them, but it's important, like Joanna says, give them a chance to be in power of the situation, of the
Exactly.
job.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go back to mom.
Okay.
The next one is más vale un pájaro en mano que ciento volando.
Siento volando, yeah.
I would have an uncle.
Wait,
I don't
in
ever can say
English.
names.
Wait, in English, what does it mean?
Yeah,
That's
English,
true.
English.
That's true. I went ahead. See,
That's okay. It's okay. Hold that thought.
It's better to have one bird in your hand than 100 flying, more or less. And I guess what it means is you want to do so much or get so much, you would like to have many, and they're going to, move and fly away instead of keeping just one. And I had an uncle that would say that all the time. It's better to have one bird, my mother's brother, and he would say, than you want to get so many and they're going to fly. You want to keep many and it won't do. So in life, I guess, is go, little by little, one thing at a time, one day at a time. You want to do too many things and you won't be able to finish all. So he would say that very often. Keep one bird, in your hand. It's better to have one than trying to get more and all of them are going to fly.
Yeah. And I don't know, and let if you have a different or different experience or different interpretation, because I also think of it as, I think it can apply to different things. I think it's if you come almost like the other one where it's focusing on too many things or putting all your just going into many different arenas and not really specializing in one thing or really sort of
Es que
maximizing.
mucho abarca.
Exactly.
Right? That
Totally.
becomes secure in itself because you're investing so much more in this one thing that will grow and become something special versus being distracted with like a million other things that maybe you do a little in each one, but not a single one is really gonna again reap a really special thing.
No, and also if you have like a goal to fulfill in life or like a project, but you want to have everything at the same time, not for sure is something going to go wrong, right? It's not going to be good because you're getting everything in there at once instead of just one thing at a time. But you want to approach all of them. I don't want them to take them away, It is that sensation of grabbing everything at the same time and have it all, and then we'll start.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if also a little bit like having a little bird enjoy what you have. So many times you're wanting other things, 2, 3 other things at the same time. Enjoy what you have right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And appreciate what you have. Appreciate what you have because you always want for like whatever the neighbor has and looking after the others, but you don't look at yourself. You don't look what you have.
Like the grass is greener on the other side. Exactly. I think it also makes me think of people who have an eye for other people, right? Like romantic attractions, right? It could also apply like if you're with someone already, but your eyes kind of wander, right?
Yes.
On all these other possibilities. But like you said, Mom, appreciate what you have.
Exactly.
Invest in the relationship versus
totally
being distracted by other possibilities, right?
Totally agree.
Exactly. The other birds are going to fly.
Yeah, they will. Away.
Bye-bye.
And you didn't appreciate what you had in your hand.
Exactly. So valuable. We don't tend to value our things that we have, our people. Look within us. Yes.
Exactly. Let's do one more, and then we'll have a part 2 of this.
Okay.
There's a lot of really valuable lessons in the other ones too.
Oh, many,
We'll end with Aunt Laura's. Dime.
Okay. Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. Oh, that's a strong one.
Yeah.
So how would you say it in English?
Tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are.
Yes, well, tell me about it, of course. That's definitely a true one. You pick up your friends that you choose are the reflection of your personality. There are things, they could be physically differently, but there are so many things, alike that really gets you into this is the one, no? And
Mm-hmm.
also in a relationship. I call it, there is an attraction towards the prototype of person you would like to be. But there is also something more within us called intuition. And it is more of a feeling than a knowledge. It's a powerful sensation in the body. It means like, when you're with someone, it could be a friend, or something. This is the right. We sometimes call it in Spanish, química, no? There is a chemical reaction or chemic reaction. And the friends are the same. I mean, why do we keep the same friends since we're so young? And they're the same, and we speak the same language, and we treat them like, family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I guess
Yeah.
that's what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I can see it two different ways. One, I could see what you're talking about, which is it's almost like in English, the birds of a feather flock together. That when you've got some similarities or some, whether it's aura, energy, or chemical combination, right? That you attract to people who are similar, probably more similar than dissimilar. I think this phrase also talks about, which I've heard in the context I've heard it is more like be careful who you hang out with early on when you're establishing relationships, because you can start to adapt the behaviors of those a little easier, especially in adolescence, right? When you start really forming these potentially longer lasting relationships, you can adapt the not so great things about them. You can also
Yes.
adapt to the great things about them, right? And so you start to, we say like symbiotic, where you start to mirror each other and absorb elements of each other. And so who you pick
Mm,
as friends is very critical, right? Because of that process, as you start to exchange and adapt to one another's way, and then
mm,
these become the similarities that sort of connect us, right? For good or for
yeah,
bad, which is why
exactly.
it's important to be, mindful of how you select those friends and why they're valuable to you and what they offer to you, what you offer to them, that hopefully enhances the person that you are versus brings you down, right? Which I think is the way the phrase is a lot of times used, is be careful about who you
Yes,
hang out with, because
exactly. On the other way.
right, because you'll start to absorb maybe not the not great things about them, and that's how you're going to be
Yes,
seen. These are the friends you hang out with, you're just like them. So it's also sort of cautionary, I think.
totally agree.
Very much so. And when they're young, when kids are young kids is and they're so susceptible to get what the other friends or whatever
Yeah.
environment they're in. That's why they tell you choose your friends well. And well, sometimes they do, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're a kid, you kind of over, how would you say that? Like you put them like, wow. How would you say like you are
Mm-hmm.
over, right?
Yeah. Your peers take
Value
on a
that
role.
person.
Yeah, they take on a little higher role than even our family does, our parents do, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whatever he says is right. No,
Exactly.
whatever this person does is the correct thing.
Yeah.
And we forget about the individuality that we have. We're individuals that we have our own character, our own ways of thinking,
Yeah.
and this is the way we should be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it's
and
true.
that's because it's a very critical time, right? In Erickson's stages, it's about us formulating our identity. And in adolescence, a lot of our identity centers around the peers that are around us, right? So it's a very delicate time, right? Because we're trying to figure out who we are. And if we rope too much of that into who our peers are, then it delays, I think, a stronger understanding of who you are, which is why a lot of that gets developed in later adolescence, early adulthood, right? College years are very much that piece of like trying to figure out who you really are. So that's an interesting phrase, right? Because it
Yes,
stirs up a lot in terms of our own identity formation and who we were friends with. Even thinking about the friends that, like you said, Laura, that you had early on, that some who are still friends, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because, we're so much alike that sometimes we forget, right? Oh, my goodness. Oh, but it doesn't mean that we think the same,
Right.
right? We're individual. It's different thinking and opinions and whatnot, but we click in a way of, as a family, honestly, because the friends that you get is almost like the family you choose. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I think that's
Very
something that
true.
we'll be talking about down the line, which is how do friendships differ over the years, right? What is important to us as adolescents versus now in mid older adulthood? What's important to us now in our friendships? And our friendships change over time because of some of the phase of life things that we go through, and we start figuring out, we start dwindling down what's most important to us. And the ones that really feel like
Exactly.
family, that really bring value to us, are the ones that are keepers, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But it's also those kind of friendships that it happened to me recently in my trip that I met, my close friend Edna, that she's the godmother of my son. I mean, it's been 10 years or something that we didn't see each other, but we saw it yesterday, right? We saw each other. So you click right away. It's so nice that you think, you're so much, you like the same things, I would say, that you think the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's
That's
nice.
what happens.
Yeah, well, Dichos definitely, and as I said, like proverbs in America, in our English proverbs, really do influence. I think they become these little nuggets that stay with us, because the second you hear them, I think they click us back to memories of when we were told that, and maybe even the first time we heard it, we're like, "What are you talking about? That doesn't even make sense." But
Yeah.
over
And I bet
time,
nowadays this generation doesn't know about these things.
I know.
right,
That's true.
right,
What are you talking about?
we lose
Right?
some of that, right?
Unfortunately.
True.
But the magic of those dichos is that you hear it and then you remember exactly what it is, right? And it's just a very quick way to say, look, there's a lesson here, and I could say it in 10,000 words, but I'm going to say this one thing, and you're going to remember what I'm telling you. So we'll have a part 2, because there's a lot more that we didn't talk about. So we'll do
There's so many.
There's so many that we'll cover those in a future one. But I'm curious, people listening to this, if they remember any of these dichos, if they use some of these dichos, what were the memories attached to hearing it for the first time? And if this is a first time for folks, what do you think about them? Like, do any of them sound like I want to use that? Put those things in the comments. And if you liked it, hit the like and subscribe, because we are going to do a part 2. So you're going to hear a lot more. But let's do a round of introductions. First, there's my tia,
Laura,
and my mom,
Ana,
and I'm Joanna. And we want to remind everyone, whether it's good, bad, or funny,
leave it
leave it
up.
up.